Hey everyone, welcome to Design Systems Unlocked. I am Ankur Khatal and I'll be your host for today's session. Honestly, when I first planned this, I thought maybe not even 25 people would show up, but today we got around 90 registration and they will all be getting the email for this recording. This call will be recorded. So which just shows how many of us are curious about design systems, Figma, and how all of this translates into actual code as well. So that's powerful. So because it tells me we are all here to build better, smarter, and more scalable experiences. This is just the first part of a weekend learning series where we'll break down systems thinking in a way that's simple, practical, and maybe even a little fun. So thank you for being here. Let's unlock design systems together. So here's what we have got lined up. A full series of 5 sessions happening every 2 weeks. The idea is simple, not just to learn, but to connect, build together, and slowly grow a community around design systems that's approachable and real. We'll start with foundations, getting clear on what design system actually is, what tokens mean, and how to audit your own designs today. Then we'll dive into design tokens, hands-on practical learning to actually create and manage tokens across multiple themes. That will be more of a live demo session. Then in the third session, we'll explore no-code workflows, turning Figma components and tokens into actual production-ready code without needing to write complex logic yourself. Then after that, we'll talk about governance and scaling, because the design system isn't just a Figma file, right? It's also teams, tools, and processes. And finally, we'll wrap up with with something I am super excited about: AI-powered design systems, where we'll use tools like Cursor and different copilots to future-proof and automate parts of this system. Each session is designed to practically collaborative and progressive, so you will walk away with value, not just slides. Here's a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll kick off with our short introduction and set a vibe. Then we'll dwell into design system fundamentals, like a 15-minute breakdown of what systems are, why they matter, how to start thinking in systems. After that, we'll look into design tokens, another 15-minute segment where around I will walk you through what tokens are, why they are real, why there are real MVPs behind scalable design. We'll do a small fun workshop after that as well. And finally, we'll get a good chunk of time for open question answers and any roadblocks you're facing. So our goals for today are simple: understand the basics of design system, learn the role of design tokens, and most importantly, start building a mindset of working systematically. Before we dive in, just a quick things to keep in mind during the session. First, I will be taking all your questions at the end. So if you have anything pops into your head while I'm speaking, just head to the tools panel and drop your questions in the Q&A section. Don't worry, I will scroll through all of the questions and make sure nothing gets missed. Then, second, if you have any more detailed questions, or if you'd like to chat about something one-on-one, feel free to book a session one-on-one with me. I'm more than happy to help you out based on your own context. Also, don't worry about having real perfect questions or the correct lingo. This space is designed to be curious, not perfect. Ask what you need, however you need to ask it. And finally, we are not just running a webinar today, we are starting a community. So if today sparks something for you, I would love for you to stay connected for future sessions and discussions. So this is only part 1. So just to introduce myself, I am Ankur Khatal, and I am a senior UX designer, obsessed with simplifying the complex things. But before all the design systems and tokens, I actually started out as a computer engineer in India. Later, I moved to Ireland to pursue Masters in Digital Innovation. It's like a modern take on management information systems course, blending tech with business strategy. Now, I have been working in Ireland for past 7 years, building digital products, growing as a designer, and learning from some amazing cross-functional teams. Today, I specialize in scaling design systems and building token architectures that work across platforms and teams in an enterprise environment. I've also been diving into how generative AI can power real UI workflows, not just fancy prototypes, but tools that actually help teams move faster without losing clarity. And when I'm not buried in tokens or Figma files, I sketch, I paint, I do write micro essays under my personal brand into interface, which I have a Substack and Instagram channel. And so in today's session, I'm bringing all of those threads together, structure, creativity, and system thinking to help us unlock design systems the human way. Let's start by grounding ourselves in the fundamentals. So what is a design system in simple terms? This you could find everywhere. A design system is a collection of reusable components guided by clear standards that can be assembled together to build any number of applications. Now, a design system isn't just a bunch of buttons in Figma, right? It's made up of a few building blocks, which is components and patterns first. These are your actual UI pieces, buttons, cards, maybe forms, all built in to be reused. Then comes design tokens. These are the values underneath everything, like colors, spacing, typography, and multiple things. So they are like the DNA of our design system. Or it's, as it's often called in the industry, is like the single source of truth. Then comes the documentation. This is where what makes it usable, guidelines, how-tos, and why behind your decision for that particular component, or patterns, or design tokens. And next is governance. And finally, the structure that holds it all together, like who manages it, how changes happen, and how teams stay aligned with that. Without these four pieces, it's just like a UI kit. But with them, you've got a real system. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great in theory, but why do design systems really matter? Well, here are like 4 key reasons why teams invest in them and why they become a core part of scaling design and development effectively. First is consistency and scale. Imagine you have 5 different building products, 5 teams building products, and each one is styling buttons, modals, or text in their own way. It creates a messy experience for users and weakens your brand. A design system brings consistency across all the platforms and products. Everything from buttons to shadows to spacing follows all the same rules, which reduces user confusion and builds brand recognition over time. Second, efficiency and development. With a system in place, your team doesn't have to reinvent the wheel every time, right? Designers can pull from an existing library. Developers can plug in the components and tokens directly into the code. This cuts down on repeated work, speeds up delivery, and leads faster decision-making because most of the basics are already defined. Third, improved collaboration. One of the biggest benefits, it gives teams a shared language. When a designer says, use the primary CTA button, and the developers knows exactly what that is, you have just saved a dozen back and forths. Design systems create alignment between designers, developers, PMs, and stakeholders as well, making collaboration smoother and communication clearer. And last but not the least, accessibility and compliance. Good systems aren't just efficient, they are inclusive. Built-in standards for color contrast, focus states, font sizes, etc. help ensure that everything we build in an accessible, everything we build is accessible and meets legal and ethical standards like WCAG compliance or GDPR where needed for the Europe part, GDPR. This protects both the product and the people using it. So when we talk about design systems, we are not just talking about the pretty components. We are talking about a foundation of for scale, speed, clarity, and care. If you're having any questions in this in between, you can post that questions in the chat, like on a Q&A, like I suggested. So now let's talk numbers, because a design system isn't just a nice to have. It's like a smart investment. On average, design teams see like a 38% boost once a design system is in place. That means fewer repeated tasks, faster delivery, and more time to spend on solving real user problems than fixing those small spacing, fixing that color or everything. Every small element which takes up a lot of time and irritates us as well. Then, like development teams also benefit with 31% improvement in efficiency. When components and tokens are already defined and documented, engineers don't waste time guessing or rebuilding UI logic from scratch. And what does this all add up to? A 135% increase in return on investment, usually within just 2 years. And that's the stats. So let's break that down with the chart here. Yes, that's an initial investment, which we see here, like time, resources, and people. There's also some maintenance cost to keep it running. But what you gain is time savings, quality improvements, and alignment across teams far outweighs those upfront costs, leading to real measurable net gain over time. So when someone asks why build a design system, this is your answer. It's not just good design, it's good business. So for the next part, we will go to what is the anatomy of design systems. Now let's break this down into the key layers, kind of like understanding the anatomy of well-functioning organism. At the top, we have design tokens. These are the smallest, most atomic pieces, like things like colors, spacing, typography, shadows. They aren't UI elements themselves, but they drive the UI. Think of them as design decisions encoded into code, and they become the single source of truth that ensures consistency across platforms. For example, instead of writing this code, hex code, everywhere, you use color primary, which gives you more context, like what color exactly is defined for that. Then one change at the token level updates every place it's used. And I will show this small demo in one of the examples going forward. Next, we have components. These are actual building blocks of interfaces, buttons, drop-downs, inputs. They are constructed using tokens and follow accessibility. Follows accessibility, interaction, and visual rules as well. And once they defined, they can be reused across products, which saves which saves teams a ton of time and effort too. Then comes patterns. This is where the magic starts to happen. Patterns are the combinations of components of common tasks or flows. Think login screens, product cards, navigation menus. Patterns bring real-world context to components and help ensure teams design for behavior, just not a visual alignment. Next is documentation. A design system without documentation is just a Figma file with some code. Documentation explains the what, the why, and how. It gives guidance, usage rules, do's and don'ts, and rationale. This is what makes a system actually usable for teams who aren't involved in building it. And finally, the governance and tools. This is often overlooked part, but maybe the most important. Governance defines who owns it, how updates happen, how feedback is collected, and what tools support version control and contribution. Like in Figma, there's version control for your components as well. Because, because without structure in this governance, even the best design system can spiral into like a bit of a chaos, which I have seen in few companies I've worked in. So when we say design system, we are not just talking about a set of components. We are talking about a whole ecosystem, one that starts from tokens, scales up to patterns, peoples, and then into the process as well. So that's the anatomy of design system. Now, let's talk about design tokens, your system's DNA. And and this is the part that controls the look and feel at scale. Next slide. Yeah. So design tokens are like the genetic code of your design system. They hold your visual decisions in a structured, reusable way that works across design and code. Let's break this down into three layers. These are your raw values like colors, spacings, and font, which is global tokens or called primitive tokens. Think of them as the building block of your system. For example, here you can see blue 600 is defined as hex code 1696FF. And that value is stored as ads.color.blue.600. It's foundational, but doesn't carry meaning beyond color itself. Why we do this? First thing is, as if I ask you guys, what is one hex code 1696FF? Nobody could tell it. Not even I can tell which color it is, right? So we give a name to that color. So that is it's easy for us to understand. Like what name and what like saturation or it's there. Like you can get a range of 100 to 1000, which is from lighter to dark, and generally 600 and 500 are preferably industry standards for the main actual color. It goes darker on the 800, 700, 800, 900, and 1000, and it goes lighter on the above part. So that's the starting point. And now we are giving it a name like ads.color.blue.600. What is ADS? First of all, I wasn't able to find a generic name, so I just named it after my name, Ankur's design system. So that's ADS. ads.color.blue.600. Okay. Now, semantic tokens. Now we give those raw values a purpose. Instead of just saying blue, we say brand primary color. So the token name reflects why it exists, not just what it looks like. And here's ads.color.primary, which equals to ads.color.blue.600. So this token references this token just as a value. It picks up the value from it. So this adds flexibility. If you change your brand color, you update it in one place and everything can happen for the next component tokens, which is the third layer of it, which is component tokens. Finally, we get specific to components. Here, the button's background color is linked to a semantic token, which you can see ADS color blue, which okay, I have written there's some mistake here. It should be ADS color primary. This is wrong. ADS color primary is equal to so ADS button primary dot background is equal to ADS color primary. So it references this color. I will show this working example. So this hierarchy for primitive to semantic to component is what gives tokens their power. Like they keep your system scalable, themable, and easier to maintain, especially when working with multiple brands or platforms. So as we walk through 3 layers of token, global, semantic, and component tokens, I just want to put more focus on why they are used like that. Now let's look at how this maps into different organization strategies, because how you name and structure your tokens makes all the differences in scaling your design system. So first is category based. This is like a simple approach. Your group tokens by what they are. So things like colors, primary, spacing, medium, like typography, heading. These are often your global or primitive tokens. They store the raw values, but they don't carry much meaning beyond that. It's like a tool set we have at our house, but we don't use everything at once to do some task, right? Then second is purpose based, which is semantic, which is a brand layer where uh, a brand should come in and update those colors, which can travel across component tokens as well. So here you group tokens based on what they are used for. This aligns well with your semantic tokens, which carry design intent. They describe why token exists in that given context. And the third, hierarchical, most powerful of scaling. This is where we combine both naming and structure in the layers of abstraction, like contextual. This is where the component tokens, since because they are deeply contextual, they don't just say what or why, they also say where. For example, component button primary background tells me it's a background color of that primary button. So this tokens is meant for, as it tells me, that it maps back to semantic color primary, which is like a brand color, which we inherited from, and which tells itself references a global color blue 600, right? So this structure doesn't just keep things organized. It creates a clear, traceable from the raw value of all the component, like of all the way to component usage. That's what makes your system scalable, predictable, and collaborative, especially in RAS teams. Now, let me share. Okay, let me explain you guys how. Okay, I think I just shared my presentation screen. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah. Okay, so what are design tokens? Now, let me explain it first, and then we'll show you it in action. That's what I was explaining you guys. First, there's a value. We don't know what value does that mean, this number. But it gives, it connects to, it gives this ads.color blue 600, like some naming there. Then at the semantic level, it goes color ads.color.primary. Only for primary intent, you use this token from the semantic level. And then for the component token, which is ads.button.primary.background, it shows us this is a background color for primary button. Now, let's see this in action. You can see this Token Studio. We'll be covering Token Studio and how to use tokens, how to make those tokens in the next session. I will just touch base on what it can do. So you can see here for the primary button, here, there's a token connected to it, ads.button.primary.background. And this is the color, which is here on semantic layer. This is the color, ads color.primary, okay, which carries the value, same value, but it comes up from this part. Because here, if I edit token, I've just added it as a reference, ads.color.blue 600. I haven't added it. But on the global level, if you see, it's the raw value, just the raw value. And now for the component, which is ads.button.primary.background, what is connected? ads.color.primary. Cool. So how this will work and why this is necessary to do, that is a bigger question, right? I can just take a Figma file and just add this layer and that's it. I'm done with it, right? But now let's see how it works. What I said is we should get into the brand for the branding part on the semantic layer, right? Now, let's see, this color is here in the global context, green, ADS color green 600. Okay, nothing is here, right? So I will just go and change my brand color to this color, okay, which is edit token, which was blue. I will just change it to green and save. Nothing happened, right? But if I select this and apply to selection, what happened is really we gave connected this color to this, and it traveled to the primary button automatically. But because primary button was looking at this token for giving it the reference. Hope you understand that. If you have any questions, we can take it in the end. So let's take the second example in context now, which is spacing. Generally, a big issue where we create some dashboards and there's a lot of spacing problems in between. So that to make it consistent, like we just go here and we just change few things like, 20, 24, what was I using at that point? 24, 4 pixels, I don't know. So let's see how this tokens help. And here, one of the things which is a bit flexible, like you don't always have to travel global semantic component. You can directly reference few things from global as well, because in tokens, like in Token Studio, it's a hierarchy. Whatever is below, it's looking up there. So you can use global or semantic as context. So here, 4 pixel is just a value. I want to give it a name and where to use it. So it's ads.spacing small. Now it's a very generalized thing, right? Global token. So that's why spacing can be adding, spacing can be gap between it. Spacing can be many things, right? But now for this particular button component, what I can say is ads.button, which is a button component name, dot padding. So it understands, okay, this is for the button components padding. Now let's see how we can change that. Now you see it's highlighted. It's picking 4 pixels from ADS space small. Now we just want to go there, edit it, and make it ADS space large. Save and apply to selection. That's it. It changed the color as well, if you guys see that, because when I apply to selection, it applies all the changes. And here it was changed already from this part, right? So this is how the tokens work. 1 second. Now we'll do a small workshop, which is like we have gone deep into the theory. Let's I think we should shift gears a bit to a little hands-on. So we are going to do a short, fun workshop where you will get to practice naming design tokens using the same structure we explored, like global semantic component. And here's how it's going to work. I will just drop a FigJam link in the chat. Click on it, and you will land in the shared workspace with multiple boards, one for each breakout room. You will be randomly assigned to a team and a board, and each board has a unique component, has the same component brief, not a unique currently. Some of you will work on buttons, like mostly buttons, and I guess 1 or 2 prompts I've added there. When you will get to the board, just write your name somewhere. So your team, 1 second. Yeah, what is that? Yeah, so your team can understand who is working with them. So your task as a team is to look at the component brief and create a small set of tokens for it. Think in layers. Start with a primitive value, spacing, color, or typography. Then define semantic tokens for meaning and intent. And finally, create component level tokens that reflect where they are using like button, primary, background, or something. You will have 10 minutes, and I will start the timer in just a second. Once time's up, we'll regroup automatically. You will be in the main call automatically, and on what each team came up with. No pressure to be perfect. I will be just going through, not calling out anybody to present anything. So no worries about it. The goal is here to think like a system together. All right. So I will say go, and we'll jump into breakout rooms. Have fun, be creative, and I will see you in 10 minutes. We'll be jumping into breakout rooms for now. 1 second. Nice. People are working towards this. If anybody who isn't able to do that thing, so we can maybe talk here. If you have any questions, I can take a few questions here. I've just closed the rooms. You can work here only, so that's fine. You know which board to work on, so that's fine. And you can, if you have any questions, you can ask me here as we are working on this. Some people don't have aren't working from the laptop, so it might not work. So if somebody is on iPhone, iPad, and they have any questions, you can just fire up.
Ankur, there are a few questions in the Q&A section.
Okay, 1 second, I will check. Is there a standard nomenclature which we follow? If yes, where do we find it? Yes, there are standard W3C on the W3C website. You can find how you should define design tokens, and there are few more industry experts as Nathan Curtis, Brad Frost, who also has really good detailed design tokens definition documents, like how should you name it. And it depends completely on the context of who is going to use that particular design system and how they are going to use it. So if it's enterprise level, then there's more complexity because there are multiple products. You need to be flexible, but not completely flexible too. If it's a small, medium enterprise, then the designers might be like just 10, 15 who will be using that. So it will be a bit closed. So you can have much better feedback what they need if only 2 people are working on design system. So the structure might be a bit different and much easier to understand or something. And because on the enterprise level, you have to put more context there so that if anybody new comes to the company or is working in a completely different team, they can just go read that and understand where that token is going to get applied. And for the small companies, it's fine what they can define how they want to create the design system. But if they want to future proof it, the better way to go towards is like putting into tiers and then changing on the semantic layer. Hope I answered your question, Pooja Lakhani.
Yes, Ankur, you did. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. There are a few more. Okay. Do you have, I don't know how your name is pronounced, but I'm sorry, Yeneva. So do you have any advice for an early career UI designer to get first job in design systems related job? Okay. Yes, I will say, like for the start, you will, if you are working on as a product designer, then you will understand what things are and how that design system is going to be get used in that particular context. So that so I will suggest you should have a little bit of product design experience, like designing web pages or dashboards or something. Then you start to find out, oh, there's a misalignment with the button, there's a misalignment with this, and that's where the design system thinking comes in. You should think it from the start only, but that's where it should. That's where it comes in, and then you can go and focus on bit of design system to improve that product what you are trying to build. So for example, you're looking for a job currently and you don't have anything on your plate right now. So what you can do is you can take a random prompt or something to start a project, a pilot project for yourself. Okay, then start designing few things and check out, okay, if you are being consistent across the board dashboard, and then you can book a one-on-one call with me. I can suggest you a few things and give some direction on that, and then start to build a design system from that. Like, what do you need that design system for? That's how the enterprise design systems are built too. Like some other team comes in, okay, we want this, but we are not able to pull in because we have to do it custom. If it's already in design system, it saves us time. But sometimes what happens is, I want a component for a product. Just I'm working on, but there are 10 other teams who don't want it. So design systems teams don't prioritize that as it's a custom component which they need specifically, so they can build it. We don't want to spend one month or something to develop that component for the future cases, which there might be not. So that's how you should think when you're looking for a design system related job or something. And the next question is, how do we manage the implementation, consistent use of the design system? Do you have any experience where it is difficult to encourage design dev to utilize? So yes, this question is really good. I will take in the end of our session. So guys, thanks for working on this. So let's see what people have come up with. Okay. Ahmad was working on this part. So global color.blue 500, good. Primary default color blue 500. You don't need this part, as it will directly point to, like, if it's ahmad.primary.default, you get the name. You don't need to add this more leaves to it. It will point to this and it will take the value from this, carry that value. And same goes here. Like, you don't need this part. You can just delete this 2 parts. Next, rainbow.color.purple, rainbow primary. This is a good, like, because this is good because you're going into the states as well. So this is a really good naming. But there's one issue, like whenever you are doing it, it can go button first and then color, because what happens is if you do color, button, primary, hover, those comes in the same leaf. Like if you do it for a different component, think of different components as well, like button or input field, then they will stack stack here. We don't need that. We can just say button, then color, then primary, and hover. That means it's a primary hover color for it's a hover color for primary button, and that's it. So that's the context we are setting, and it's much more clear for a person to look at, like, because it should go in a hierarchy. Okay, it's a button, for then button, after that it's color, and after that, but which button it is? Primary. Or you can do swap as well, button, primary, dot color, something like that. So it's a part of a decision which we make in the start, which takes us way ahead. Cool. So thanks for this exercise. Let's jump on some of our things which we need to finish, and hope you guys enjoyed the exercise. You can share the feedback later with me for sure, and we'll cover the questions later in the session. So right now, let's open it up, and if anyone wants to unmute and ask their questions live, feel free to jump in. Yes, Same, you can.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. First of all, Ankur, thank you so much for this. It was really helpful. So I just have one question
Mhm.
regarding design systems and how to maintain them in general. So currently, like we're working on a design system, and like we already launched it, and there's this like we're using it across multiple services and apps, let's say. But I
Mhm.
just want to know how you avoid creating a lot of custom components. And the second thing is whenever, for example, you need an update, let's just take an example. For example, you're working on a banner component, and then
Mhm.
there is a service that like will ask for another icon that needs to be in that component, and then another app they will need an arrow, and then another app they will need something else in that component, and then the component just starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And how to avoid all of this, and also like how to avoid creating a lot of custom components, because we all want to avoid, let's say, having some overrides and so on for components and keep consistency. Thank you so much.
No, that's a really nice question. Like I will just give me a sec. Like I said previously, for particularly for the thing like mm, for custom components, when there are 10 teams using the same thing, what happens is they are asking for specifically their own use case, right? And that's where the complexities come in. So you need to figure out, like it's part of communication. This is where the governance and who owns it, who can make a decision and say, okay, no, we won't do it. You can detach the component and you can add it to that, because banner component is a bigger component. If you like you can you should treat banner as a pattern rather than a component, is what I will say, because banner has some flexibility, right? They can add a few things, they can delete few things, and banner is made of few other components. So that's how you should work. If you make like if you are saying on Figma the component breaks, that's okay, because that's where how because that's the pattern. You can break the pattern. And when it comes to everybody asking for that particular, okay, if this icon, I want this icon, other service I want this icon, you should figure out, okay, what's the standard way of putting an icon on that particular thing, like on the banner, particularly on which side or something like that. And where everybody, like if you have 15 teams who are putting their icons on only one side and around that part only, so you can make that as a component, because there's a use case, many people are using it. Uh, it's it's looking at how important it is and categorizing, okay, do we need it? Because every team might come up with, I need this, but you can't give it to them. That's what I am saying. You can't, like, you have to have some governance, because if we start listening to everybody, there's a chaos, complete chaos to maintain that component. You own that component, right? You own that pattern, so you need to uh, be clear on that. Like, okay, you can break it, you can use it as a pattern, and just update that for your use case. But it's more on, yeah. So I hope that answered both the questions together.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. It was really
Perfect.
helpful. I
Perfect.
just like, yeah, it was just like I was only afraid of like whenever you detach, for example, and create a pattern, it will
Mhm.
create, and like you're having a lot of use cases, it will create like hundreds of variants for the same component, and then whenever you update the main component, it will be an issue.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So how this is what like I wanted to solve.
Yes. No, yes, definitely. Because that, like, you don't have to add more variants to it. You just make it more flexible. Like, that's where it takes time to build a component. If you are working on a bigger level, like you are working, different teams are working. So it's like an enterprise kind of thing. So you need to have those decisions made already. Okay, this is going to be this for particularly this time for 6 months. This release, like how enterprises work, for this release, this is what you're going to get. You can use this only. If there are new requests or something, you just pile it up, not give them what they want immediately, because that creates the whole lot of chaos. And that's where, like, I have learned a lot in my previous it was a small medium enterprise SME. So That's where everybody used to come in. I want this, and we used to update those things. But in the end, when we used to do a new product, there was a lot of chaos in the file. The file was heavy. There was a lot of issues there. So cool.
Okay.
Anything else? Any questions you have, guys?
I have a question, Ankur. So,
Yeah.
like usually do people like start building a design system from scratch, or they use maybe some existing design systems and then build upon it as per their requirements?
Depends. Depends on how fast you need a product, or how does it align with some of the design system. If you do some research on design systems like Google's Material.io, it's a nice,
Mhm.
it's a defined design system. You can just take the components, use it for making your designs. But there's some code as well. Like it comes up with the code too because it's open source. Or Radix UI design system, Radix or ShatCN. There are multiple open source design systems. But the thing is, if you are building a brand from scratch, that's where the things don't align somewhere. Like, okay, I'm using a design system, but I want to make that design system look like my brand. Yes, tokens are there. It will look like my brand exactly, like the colors and the typo and everything. But are those components what I need, or I need something else? So what you can do is, first step, if you want to go quickly, you can take open source design system and make it your own, and then start changing those things, and then start building upon that. That would be a quicker way to do it. If you have time, then you can start from scratch. But I don't recommend starting from scratch at all. I don't even start from scratch if somebody asks me, uh, not in the company context, but if I'm doing some work outside. My friend is asking, okay, what should I do this? How should I do this? I just say, pick it up from here and start. Because somewhere Brad Frost also is saying, like, he has a thinking around having a global design system, because every company has a different design system, right? Why is
Right.
every company designing the same button for a different context for themselves, right? Can we have a global design system? It's difficult because there are so many questions like security around so it's kind of a decision you have to make on the go. But I think you can just pick it up for a short answer, like just pick up a nice design system, what aligns with your brand and might help you. So
Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
cool. So there are a few questions again, I guess, regarding governance. Is there... One second. Yeah, how do you manage the implementation, consistent use of the design system? Do you have experience where it was difficult to encourage dev team to utilize it? Yes. Like managing this implementation and consistent use is a big issue currently as well in different enterprise prices. Always, because developers work in a different environment, and designer work in a different environment, because the designer don't understand developers language, developers doesn't understand designers language. Because if I'm doing something in design tokens or this, they get a JSON file which can be transformed to from style dictionary as a CSS variables, and that's how they update it. So they get that part. But managing this whole chaos, we designers need to understand a bit of how devs work, bit of a workflow overlap, little bit of overlap when we are giving it. And developers should also be little bit flexible around understanding what designers are doing. Because if you're designing a component, you're designing button, you can put a lot of layers for designing a button, right? Like a button, Shift A, there's a new layer. There's a new container. There's a new container. But what developer will do is will just use the text and put up a padding on something like that. So aligning that small things is also very important, is what I think, because you should have a parity in both. Like if you go, okay, this is the layer in design, your component code too. Like we use Storybook to check that component particularly. So that answers your question, I guess. Do you have any advice for yeah, that's done. I guess there was governance something. Regarding governance, how do you foster trust and respect with cross-functional teams so that they can accept your no? How do you foster trust? It's about completely building the relationship. Like, it's like if they are asking for something, sometimes developers come on too hard. Like, okay, this is not the way we work. This is what we want. You are messing up the file. You don't understand this or something. In that part, a PM helps first thing. If there's a project manager for this part, that helps. But if you have a very strong, not very strong, you have a logical and strong argument to put in, like, okay, this is not how it works on Figma or something, some other software, because we have some constraints on ourselves on this part. Okay. But you don't. So you can work on that part. And I would say no for this currently implementing on my side. And document this so that you have it somewhere, because these were the limitations at this point of time. That's why we couldn't do this on the design side, but there were some more flexibility on the dev side, or vice versa. Anything that should be documented and governed. Cool. And there's one more question. If the company already has a product that was designed without a design system, how should I approach creating a new design system? Should I audit the existing products first? What key aspects should I consider and include? That's a great question. And for that reason, I have, I am coming up with, something stuck. It's not. So I am coming up with an ebook coming soon, which will be those, which you will get when you subscribe, of course, because I will get your emails. So you will get the whole thing into this, like how to start a design system, like building your first design system. So if you have the product already done, or if you are starting from scratch as well. So it will be a bit long ebook, which will give you particular guidance on what steps to take from the start, like audit the design system first, then go into understanding how your design token should be named, if you are using design tokens or variables, Figma variables or styles, I don't know. Then going into the components, okay, which should be componentized, do some workshop with other designers if there are, or just you only mark those, okay, this needs to be componentized because this is same and we need consistencies over there. Then, yeah, that's how you should work. And it's a bigger question, I will say. So I am going to show a small example in the next session. So if you guys want to jump on a new session, I have created the session already. You can book in the session and hope that helps you. Okay. So yeah, that's about the question answers. You can ping me on ADP list or book any one-on-one sessions if you want to know more, or you want any help for 3-4 sessions on building up design system, or any questions, or meet any teams as well. Okay. And so let's just recap quickly. So like quick takeaways from today's session. First, design systems are all about consistencies at scale. A well-structured system helps teams deliver unified, high-quality experiences across products and platforms, and reduces it confusion for both teams and users. Second, design tokens are not just the technical layer; they are foundation of your system. They encode design decisions and create a shared language between designers and developers, making collaboration smoother and changes easier to scale. Third, how do you organize those tokens? How you organize those tokens matters. And then like the hierarchical structure and the global primitives to semantic to component level tokens gives you the flexibility to scale, maintain, and theme your system over time without breaking everything. And finally, none of this works without cross-functional collaboration. That's what the questions were there. A design system is not just a design or dev thing. it's a team sport. It needs input, alignment, and buy-in across the roles to truly succeed. So whether you are just starting out or evolving a mature system, these principles will help you build something that's not functional, but future-proof. The same thing, again, the ebook part. Sorry, I don't know, Figma slide is getting stuck. Cool. So, and that's a wrap up for today's session. Thank you so much for being here and being part of the first chapter of Design Systems Unlocked. If you'd like to stay connected, keep this conversation going, or just explore more of the tools thinking behind today's talk, you can connect me on LinkedIn or head to my Bento page where I've gathered all my work, upcoming projects, and resources. Also, don't forget to join our Discord community, Into Interface. I just created it so we can just talk, message. It would be much easier, asynchronized talks. I can help you out there. And it's already live and growing, so it's going to be a space where we all share ideas, ask questions, and collaborate between sessions. I think it should be a community where you can just go and ask about your product questions or something like that, and somebody comes up and helps you out there easily. Now, looking ahead, our next session is on 5th July, and it's all about design tokens in action. Like, I will be showing the components, I will be showing the design, I will be changing the colors in quickly, like in few seconds, and you will see how design tokens are powerful in a real world context. We'll go hands-on on Token Studio for Figma and cover setting it up from the scratch, how to set up the Token Studio, organizing token collections, supporting multi-theme workflows, and even how to export tokens to code. Not code, kind of, to JSON. I'll be sharing useful links and reading materials like Token Studio docs and specs to get you warmed up. You will find all the links on Substack, Discord, LinkedIn, and more in the chat now. And again, in your follow-up email. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep designing with intent. See you in session 2. Bye-bye.